Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the live paint. I'm adjusting the colors on the camera real quick. This will just take me a few seconds. I got a little bit of a slow start here. We got to change that white balance. Let's bump this way up here in the 5,000 range. Let's see what we look like now. Much better. Much more lifelike colors, and I can see we're a little bit blurry. Let me change that for you so you can see what I'm painting. We need to, a couple weeks ago during the first live, I just put in the webcam, started going, ran into these problems. That was stressful. Okay, so today painting water. So I'm starting to form the rest of my scene, deciding where the water is going to go, and I'm very much trying to follow that picture on the thumbnail. I'm trying to be careful to follow that layout. So we might veer away from it just a little bit as I progress, but no change of direction. And I'm going to make sure that everything is very followable for those of you that are following along. Okay, so anybody with comments, questions from the last one? I know it was just yesterday, still I don't expect a lot to pop up. Open the opportunity to ask anything or leave any comments. I'm not sure if I've got my live stream connected very well here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, I just got one in from Paul Bravissimo. Okay, thank you very much. I think that deserves a thank you. And we've got Mad Morph from Whole Train Artist Canada. All right. Cool, from Canada. Oh, glad you're here. Very cool. I'm here to watch your new video, says Studio Legal. All right, thank you for being here again. I really appreciate you repeatedly tuning in here. Thank you. I was a little bit late sending the reminder email out too, so I think we'll have a few late arrivals, and so maybe that's my fault. Hello there, wonderful work. Thank you very much. Grayscale painting work. I've been watching you for a while. All right, well, thanks for watching. I appreciate that. It's an honor. And so we've got Believe 3.0. Thanks for tuning in again. I appreciate you being here as well. And Mr. Tomato, you're back. All right, good to see you again. How could I forget Mr. Tomato? Just don't shower me with compliments, okay? It's getting to my head. Hello from Georgia. Been watching but not talking, but love your stuff, bro. Thank you very much for that compliment. Speak 74. I wish I could read all the other, sometimes language I don't know pops up. I wish I could read those as well. Niagara Falls, is Niagara Falls a city? It's not just the falls. Is that a location as well? Cool. Man, what an awesome thing to see. I've still never seen that. Thanks for being here. And hello from Texas again, says Betsy O. And making this painting for my mother's birthday. Hey, all right. Cool. Hello from Kazakhstan. I have friends that went to Kazakhstan. I hear it's a pretty cool place. But you know what they said about Kazakhstan? They said, well, there's a lot of mayonnaise on the food there. They like to use a lot of mayonnaise for the toppings. What kind of coffee do you have to do? Dark roast, always dark roast. You know, there's something about, I feel like anytime you go to a high altitude mountain town, everybody likes dark roast. Must be some association with all of the fires from wood stoves and all the smoke you get in the high, I don't know, dark roast. Smoky flavor, I love it. Hello from Argentina. All right. Hey, Joe from Santa Ana, California. Cool. Hello from Rio Rico. Hey, TSM. Good to have you here. And we've got my mom lives down in Rio Rico. If you didn't see the video I posted where I visit the middle schools, I went down there recently and hung out with my mom, who teaches at one of the schools, and spent some time with the students. Awesome time we had. So fun. Hi from the Netherlands. Cool, cool. Man, we got people tuning in from UK. Beautiful show. Thank you, Deborah. That's nice. Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. And so I don't see any big questions coming in at the moment. I'm gonna get going here. Try to get a little more caffeine before I start on this water. So I'm going to show you how to do water the easy way, easier way. We're not going to worry about slaving over. If you've watched my videos, you should get my videos. The How to Paint Waves bundle on my website will explain very thoroughly the structure of water, what you're looking at. And I always feel like this is helpful so that you can read what you're seeing in nature, because this is how I learned. This is how I became more proficient at painting. Your idol. Stop. Mr. Tomato, stop saying those things to me. Seriously. So I learned how to read the movement that I was seeing, and that made me more able to paint it, because I was understanding, okay, I see those colors happening on the tops, these colors happening on the front. And it was like my eyes and my mind became faster, just like we all learn to read a book. You start slow, you speed up. Water is very similar to that. And so I recommend getting those videos just to understand. But when it comes to just producing a nice look, I'm going to show you a real quick shortcut. All we're going to do is make horizontal lines. We're going to spend this whole time making some nice horizontal lines. And you can ask the kids from Rio Rico. But we worked on this with pencil. You can get the same effect. And I saw many of those middle school students successfully creating the look of water just by minding the direction of each little pencil stroke. So it really is built more with the texture and the values. Values, when an artist says values, it's a lightness, darkness, how light and dark something is. And so you can make water regardless of color. Color is just a fantastic enhancement for it. And I'm going to put all of my little paint palettes. I love how every can of paint comes with a free painter's palette on top, also known as a lid. I always admired Bob Ross. He's totally awesome. Bob Ross, I always have little things, I get gifts. I get Bob Ross gifts all the time. Somebody gave me this little bobblehead thing. I think it was a stocking stuffer last Christmas. And he's got the big painter's palette. We're going to take a little bit of phthalo blue and we're going to put it in this guy. Totally awesome. But I always felt like I don't want to hold that big palette when I'm painting. I want to be free to move around. So I use paint lids. I mix paints on these. Oi, Brazil, aqui. All right, thank you, Danilo Ferreira. I don't know how to say that. I hope I did an okay job. Thank you for being here. And so we're going to go like this to make water. Let's start by just loading up a bunch of color. So this is why I like to paint out of cans, and you can see my cans of paint down here. So let's take a look at my paint station that I'm working out of. Here's my phthalo blue and phthalo green. And these are what I'm going to be. Oh, I've got stuck to the drop cloth. Paint kind of spilled over and made it stick. Green and blue right here. These two are green and blue. I know it's hard to see in the shadows. And so I'm going to be constantly just putting these two colors on, and I really load them on pretty heavy in order to keep it workable. And instead of fighting the paint, I'm going to really just keep it wet. And every time my brush starts to run out of paint, I'm going to put more on. Just keep loading that paint on, and I'm going to show you that process. So I feel like we could get just a little more. This looks like a dark image. I'm going to try to brighten it up just a bit. Give me a second here. Sorry, you're staring at the side of my ugly face here. Let's go here and just bump up the brightness a tiny bit so that you can see. There you go. Okay, there we go. Let's go a little bit brighter, a little bit brighter. We're going to be working with some dark colors. So we're going to want to see those details in here. So let's go like this. We'll put green and blue. I know that I'm going to put water here. So green and blue. And then just go like this. Once you get those on, now if you're working with tubes of paint, you can just squirt it on there, put a blob. The trick is don't spread it out real thin. We want to go like this, real horizontal lines. So to do all of this water, I'm just going to mind my brush stroke direction. So this is training. This is going to be like this whole session is going to be a training session to mind the very horizontal direction of these, because when I start creating X's, it completely interferes with the look of water that we're used to seeing when water settles on a level plane, when waves are crisscrossing. I mean, I understand that waves can happen at angles, but that all happens in the foreground when you're looking down and the reflection is real soft. When you're looking out on water and you see all that reflection and texture, the perspective smashes everything down to these very horizontal lines. So we need that in order to achieve the look. So here's pure white. I'm going to go in here and just start making more horizontal lines. Now, if you see areas that are more green, that's a better place to put your white. But we're not trying to be real exact here. We're just having fun making lots of horizontal lines. Just lots of horizontal lines. This paint is going to dry in not too long, and we're just going to pile more paint on to continue building this water scene. So I gotta kind of back up here by the camera and really get a square view of this to make sure that my lines are very level. I can't stress enough the difference that this makes. So I get asked a lot of questions about water, and they very frequently pertain to the texture of the water not looking natural. And I always can see in the brush strokes swooping shapes that go different directions, a little bit different directions. If I go like this, then those different directions, you can't really see much going on there. Here, let's put some more white. So if I go like this and I start putting these kind of arches, this slight curve on my strokes, that's going to interfere with the look of water on a level plane settling. If I go this way, well, that's going to end up looking kind of like those little reflection marks. But if I am not consistent, the texture gets really interfered with. So consistency with the direction is job one. So I'm putting more blue and green on here, and I'm just going to start loading this up. And anywhere that I want to see a rock, let's say that there's a little bit of rocks or dirt starting to show up under here. Here's how I'm going to make it. I'm going to make a greener area first. So let's go over here and make this coming out into the sunlight. So coming up out of the water, we get greener where it gets brighter. And you know, on a computer screen, you really have to brighten up any kind of turquoise you want to see. I'm always disappointed at the representation of turquoise on computer screens. When it's real bright, it's great. It's fantastic. You get real bright cyan from mixing blue and green. But when it's darker, you know, I don't know if anybody tried this, but take a picture of that deep turquoise green color on street signs. So get anything that's a real deep turquoise color, take a picture of it, and then just look at it. See if you can replicate the deepest, most bold turquoise you can find in real life. See if you can represent that on a bright computer screen usually falls short. It doesn't seem to be able to do it. So what you're looking at, I'm sorry, I get way into these explanations, but my point in saying that is what you're seeing here is probably not quite as saturated as the darker colors that I'm looking at. All the darker colors for me in person are very blue-green, but they're appearing probably a little more gray than they truly are. What I think is great is Joe explains everything. I do try. That comes from a history of frustration. It was always very frustrating for me to want answers and not have them. And going to people that I thought might have them, if they returned an answer like, well, that's kind of a trade secret. Oh, man. Didn't like that at all. Okay, now red. Just put some red in this green right here. And we can also use that maroon, so you can choose which one. Both of them are going to work. And then we keep adding white where we want to brighten this. So I want some ground coming up out of this green. So here's where I add red. And this is going to create kind of a gray violet when it mixes with that phthalo green. So I'm just getting a little more color, a little less white. I just need to get a little darker. Okay, so now it gets a little greener as it comes in here. So here I'm using, for all of this, I'm just using horizontal strokes. So this whole session is just going to be these horizontal strokes. But look how this starts to look like it's sinking down into the water. So now we've got it turning a little more tan colored as it emerges out. And then it's going to get darker as it goes down here still. And then I'll start adding blue to get even darker in my darkest areas. So horizontal lines, I'm going to get my dark blue and put it over here. And now I'm just creating the depth. You know, I'm creating the colors that you would expect to see of a little bit of land mass going down into the water. Okay, now I'm going to try the same thing over here with a different color. Or here, let's do more in here. Let's try the maroon now. So if you don't have maroon, just add a little bit of yellow to the red. But this is a shortcut for me, is to put maroon in there instead. Let's compare. This is going to maintain a little bit more of the green, look less purple when it mixes with that green. So I'm going to add the same amount of white to get a similar brightness. I'm getting more color now. And I'm going to bring that over into these greens. And again, I just want to mind my angles. So I almost said ankles. You know, I've been drawing people all morning. Look at this drawing. I got to see this. I got this on the brain. I was saying, you got to mind your angles. I just said ankles because I've been drawing ankles all morning. I've been just practicing and practicing. So that's a lesson in the works, is how to draw people lesson that I've been wanting to update and improve for a long time. Okay, so I'm looking at the computer screen actually to see, this is very helpful to see that this is sloping up. You see this sloping up here? So I'm going to come over here and adjust that. Now, this isn't looking like much yet, but it's going to. So I want to come over here and maybe make a little bit more of this. So in here, let's put more green. And you can just go crazy going back and forth. You put more green, and then wherever you put the green, you can, if you want, put more of the ground color showing through. Maybe it's a rock, maybe it's just dirt. And then I can use white to lighten it. So I always kind of think of my painting in this order. I think, what is the color? What is the hue? And so I get the part of the rainbow, you know, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Where is it there? And then how bright do I need to make it? And so you saw me just now get the hue that I'm after. Now I'm after the right brightness. Okay, so I'm adding some some white to brighten this. Now I'm going to put green in here on the edges. And now it's going to have a little bit harder time blending with all of this blue in here. And this is what I was talking about. It's going to start drying. Don't sweat it. We're just going to keep adding more and more paint. So you want to work that area again. Just pile on more green, pile on more blue, get some more white, and then just start loading it in there. And you're going to get all this diversity in the color, but we're not going to try to separate the shapes and think about we're painting the back side of the wave, the front side of the wave. Yeah, we're not going to think about that. We're just putting the colors in place. Okay, let's go here. And now I'm just making these little shapes going back here. And where I want more reflection, this is where I'm going to use the red, just red and white to get reflection on the top of the water. Do you ever paint from photos? Yeah, I do. I'm going to put up a video of a mural I completed, but because of this whole Corona lockdown thing, the unveiling of that mural got put on hold. And I painted from photos on some of that, and it was really valuable to use this same knowledge. So I always try to preach this. If you know the parts of something, you can so much more quickly replicate what you're looking at. Just like, I always make this 20 line challenge or whatever it is. I say I'm going to draw 20 random lines in a classroom, and then I say copy those 20 lines. If they're random lines we've never seen, it takes everybody a long time. But then if I write M-U-R-A-L, I write Mural Joe. 20 lines, equal in complexity, but everybody knows those parts. They know the parts. So even if the font is a little different. So it's the same. I find it's the same thing with artwork. I copy photos very quickly, very proficiently, just because I know when I'm looking at a reflection color, shadow color, facing the sky, facing another rock, I know why the colors are the colors there because of what I had to study in order to create from imagination. Knowing what I'm looking at makes me also faster at doing that. And again, it was like learning to read. So let's put some reflection of this right here. And the way I'm going to do that is my same blue-green mix. Okay. And then I'm not going to put white yet. I'm going to put red. It's going to make kind of a purple color. Just stir it right in there. And I don't want it to be all mixed. I want to still see some blue-green. And then I'm going to put white on top of that. And this is going to give me my reflection color, but I don't want to go too light. So the reflection is always some middle point in brightness and in color between the color coming from the water and the color coming from the reflection source. So both in darkness and in hue, it's at some midpoint. So if I make this lighter than the embankment that's here, then that says that the water itself is lighter than this embankment. But if I make it just darker than this, so here, let's make it just a little bit darker. Let's put more red, let's put more blue. I'm just putting more of the colors so that it'll be less white. If I make it darker, there's blue. Let's put some green on there too. Deeper watercolor. And I'm keeping these colors kind of separate. I'm purposely not stirring them all together. Okay, now it's a little bit darker than this. Well, at least that's the intent. I don't know if it is yet. It's kind of close. Well, that says that the water itself is deeper and darker. So a dark reflection makes deeper water. That was a long way of saying a dark reflection makes deeper water. Okay, now I'm going to put more red on here, right up in here. I'm just putting red, and that's going to mix with this. Whenever blue mixes with other colors in nature, with light, that is, whenever blue light mixes, we get a more purple result, especially more purple than what paint makes. That's why I'm using bright red instead of just using the brown color of the cliffs to make what looks like a reflection here. And so now Let's see what happens if we take some of this brighter turquoise and brighten up the middle of this water. So it's nice and dark here. It's deeper. If I make it darker, that equals deeper. But let's start putting white where I want it to be shallower and brighter. So I kind of, no more dark, got rid of it. So then I can just put little lines. Again, just mind the direction of the brush strokes. Just watch the direction. Real horizontal lines like this. And I might just look for my already light areas for this. Look for areas that are already light. And then just make these real level brush strokes like this to put some of the light shining out from under this water on this more distant edge of this. And then likewise, if I want it to be less green on that edge, so here, let's grab some of this color now. Let's put some of that maroon. Remember how we mixed that with the green? Let's do maroon and green and white. Let's get that color and put that in there. Now we've got that color showing through. And again, it's just nothing but horizontal lines. And so this just says, okay, we've got a shallower shore up there now. It's not deep water, it's shallower because it's now a little bit lighter than the reflection source. And so I can just keep putting these colors back and forth and back and forth, putting ground under the water and deciding where I want my deeper, bluer areas, my shallower, brighter areas. I like this bright spot in the middle. That's cool. So in here, I want to make it starting to hit some rocks so I can put some falls going down. And you know what I'm also going to do is, I'm thinking we could cut off something. I want more water in my picture, so I'm going to cut off a little bit of that and make higher reflection. So let's go blue and red, and maybe just a little bit of white, a little more red. Yeah, about right there. And I'm going to bring this water level up. And I can make it vary a little bit. Maybe it goes up and down a tiny bit, but I just don't want to do it a lot, because if I do it a lot, it interferes with the flatness of that line that perspective would cause. Let's go in here, make darker reflection up that way. All we need is that purple color to look like the reflection of something brownish red. And then we can put more turquoise in there. Here, let's go green and white again over this maroon that I did. Or you can just remix it somewhere else, anywhere you want. Just start putting that. And now we've got a shallower shore. So I can see on my brush strokes, I definitely have a tendency to put a slight smile shape to them. So I'm being real careful trying to go the opposite way of that. So if I naturally make slight smile shapes, I'll aim for kind of a slight frown shape to correct that tendency. But especially when you get into the distance, this is where keeping consistent direction really pays off, makes a difference. And so then in here, I've got more reflection. Let's just start taking these colors, maybe add a little water. You can do this too. A little dunk in the water. Here's my water bucket, and I just do a little dunk, just touch it. It just touches the top of the water. Then I go over here and make those same lines. If I don't want to load up a whole ton more paint, sometimes this gives me a nice clean release from the paint when I'm putting it on there. Okay, now I'm adding a little white to make this transition into that maroon and white mix. We'll make that come up there, and we'll add even more white to lighten this. We're going to put this kind of kind of glowing in the sun here, this little portion of the water. So we're putting the bank coming up out of there. Look, I've got a dark spot there. Let's just do that. And it might be fun to kind of break this up a little bit. And maybe these are just a few little rocks that are showing from under the water or something. Oh, it's kind of cool if this paint's just wet enough that I can blend it a little bit still. But I won't be able to do that in another couple minutes. Okay, then let's put a few more rocks up in here. So I'm going to use a lot more of this kind of pattern as I come down in here. And I'm just going to use my green and maroon to get the difference between rock and water, then add white wherever I have the light, wherever I want to rise the object out of the shadows. And so let's see if we've got any questions on the live chat here. And so, insane realism by mixing directly on the canvas. Thanks. You get a lot of diversity in the colors, so you don't pre-mix things, and so you end up with micro differences between all the colors because it's mixing less than 100% every time. I always try to mix up to a certain point, then stop. At the point I over mix, started happening on some of these areas on the land. It starts to over mix. I start losing shape, and that's when I know, okay, I'm at the end of this little session with the technique. Maroon looks, yeah, it's rust. Yeah, rust color. It is on the orange side. I just know that they call it maroon at the paint store. I think it's up for debate what shade of red or orange you call the color, but it is indeed a dark red orange. It's the color of rust. So if you get something like that, then you're right on track with what I'm using. I think you could also use, I have a tube of oil paint that is, I think it's raw sienna. I think it's sienna, something like that. And that's a little more brown maybe, but it's great. It would work great for this as well. You put highlight, midtone, and shadow. Very close rocks underwater, you put highlight, midtone, and shadow. Those end up being created like this. Here, I'll show you. So let's go green. Let's put more water in here. And this green is not going to be so green once this maroon color hits it. So we're going to go green in there. Then we're going to put a bunch of little patches of this color for rocks that are in the water. And again, just a reminder, I want to try to keep these strokes, even though I'm moving quickly, I am very much trying to keep them straight across. And so, if I step back and look, you're kind of at an angle. You're getting a strange perspective. Look, I'm going to lower the camera. It's better for you to see if I keep the camera up above my hand, but if I lower it, and sorry for the shaking here, but if I lower it, you can see those leveling out. See those lines getting more level? So I'm really trying, now you're right across from the water. So I'm really trying to keep these level like this. But I want you to be able to look down and see. See, I have a habit of putting my hand in the way of the painting. And you just see the back of my hand, and it's harder to see the going onto the surface here. So we're going to go like this. And here, let's get it in a little closer. I think we can get a little better view here. All right. You know what? We need a little more brightness on this. Give me a second to adjust. I feel like it's going to be real hard for you to see if I don't brighten this up. Let's go here. Boost that a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. These are on real heavy, so they're still wet while I was doing all of that. Moving the camera around. I still have this on real heavy. I'm going to put more green, and I'm just going to get some differences between my colors and then start adding white. Where I have this orange, that's where I'm going to go first with the white. Right here, here. And I feel like I need a little more. Let's go out here. And I'm really going to pile this on. So I'm noticing that my paint is running a little bit dry. I'm just going to load paint on there. Just really put it on. Get more of it, more of that green. And I'm going to dip in the water real quick. It's going to kind of get me a little better, smoother lines if I just get a little water on that brush. But once the paint dries so much, not even water can help. You just have to put more paint on. A little bluer here where it's deeper. So I never want to try to like re-blend. I don't want to get into trying to blend things when I'm doing water. Just make it all by overlapping these horizontal brush strokes. Just put paint on top of paint. Don't worry about any blending. If it doesn't blend with a single stroke, it's not worth the trouble, because we can get the effect that we're looking for without the blending. As a matter of fact, I feel like water has a way of kind of separating edges. You know, when you look at it and it's got all those swirling, real pretty, mesmerizing edges of different colors where it's distorting images, swirling them all together. So separating the brush strokes, I think sometimes can be more of an advantage to the look of the painting. So now I've got kind of a fresh blue-green layer here, and I can put some more of this on my greenest areas or on the already orange areas. That's also good place to put that. And then white on top of that to put the highlight. And so whoever it was that mentioned highlight, shadow, and mid-tone, I can put more white in one part of this to make it rise out of the water. Think of that as a highlight. Think of the mid-tone as the more colored edge transitioning down into the green, but my shadows end up being where these opposite colors come together. So there's a natural shadow that occurs when the redder color meets the greener color. Opposite colors make with paint, you get a dark result. And it naturally creates a little shadow. So if I'm careful about just putting this white on one portion, or more of it on one portion of my orange areas, then it looks a lot more like there's little rocks coming out of the water. I don't put it on the entire, I don't put it in equal amounts on the entire thing. So here I'm blending that mid-tone with the highlight and making it not quite so bright and white, but visibly leaving all three colors. I've got my brightest color, I've got the color where the orange meets the green, and then I've got the green in between, and this gives me the illusion of some textured rocks or something under that surface. As I come down into the foreground, I might want to make these shapes bigger and broader. So in here, it's probably a lot safer to just open it up and not make, oh, I'm throwing paint, I better slow down just a bit. I actually don't want paint all over this room. So here I might start rounding the strokes a little bit around the backside of a rock, because this is way down in the foreground. Maybe I'm looking a lot more downward at this. So let's put the green on the edge. And again, here's my mid-tone, because that green is mixing, making a darker color on that backside where it's going down into the water. And then I can, that's bright enough there. I'm going to leave that. I don't want to get any brighter than that for something that's underwater. But I might keep grabbing green and put little bits of it going across the top of it like that. And maybe grab some of this and make brighter little bumps on some of these already brighter areas. Just taking advantage of opportunity here while this paint's wet. You know, putting a little bit of that highlight in there. And so now over here, I'm thinking that I'm going to do more of the same kind of edge. I don't want this dark blue edge. I want it going from my blue-green over to that brighter color. And so I'm going to go turquoise first. So blue and green and a little bit of white, horizontal strokes, and just go straight across. And this just builds some more complexity in the surface. So I've got some more blue areas, some more green areas, and that, without me trying, is just going to make it look like there's areas where the light is hitting this water. As long as if my blues are the darker color and my greens are the brighter color, this is dramatically going to help this picture. Just making sure that the brighter colors are also the greener colors. Follows that rule of shifting hues that I always talk about. So green in here, we're just doing horizontal lines right across here. So my green is now the brighter color, and then I'm ready to go like this. Put a few rocks in there. Coming over here onto the bank, let's put white on top of these. So my brush got a little bit caked with other colors. I was kind of losing my brush stroke, so I just came over here and real quick brushed off the excess paint. I do that a lot, you know. I do it a lot without thinking about it, and then I've been called on it a few times. Hey, what did you just do? It's like when you're trying to learn a cool guitar riff and someone just messing around. Yep, that's how you do it. And then they throw in a little and you, what? What'd you just do? They're like, I didn't do anything. You forget what you're doing when you do it all the time. Okay. I'm going to go in here and lighten this up, put a little bit more of this maroon color on this edge because I really want to show a lot more ground being exposed. So let's go here, put some white. We'll kind of put the sun catching these edges. Now I'm curving this because I'm going to build a waterfall coming down right here. So I'm going to start making these lines just ever so slightly curving like this, where I know that I want to make it fall down off the edge. Then I'll take this green and keep brushing the green areas across until I'm happy with the mix. You know, it's your judgment call. You know, just you mix the colors together until you feel like it's enough. You decide where to stop, because it kind of is creating how far out of the water these shapes come. I'm put a little more green in here, maybe just for composition's sake. I'm just thinking, oh, maybe it'd be cool if I had not such consistent, constant maroon right there, but maybe just a little bit of this greener water separating it right in this area. So I'm just creatively organizing where I have my rocks and water. And so now I'm going to go like this. I'm going to darken this a little. This is a little too bright. I don't want it so bright. I got to save room for other highlights that are going to be in the picture. So I think it'd be really cool over in here to put darker water kind of spanning this way too. Doesn't it kind of look like it would flow in a path right there? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that as well. Let's back up. We're going to do that section and this one. So here's how I do the waterfall. I'm going to bring this camera down a little bit so that you can see. Right here. It's just when you look at how easy he makes it look, you'd think it should be fairly straightforward to replicate. Yes, it's good for you to remind me that when I'm making it look easy, because it's not. It's not easy. The motor skill of very consistent brush strokes while having awareness of where the colors go. This is where the challenge is, and that is the speed at which you process the understanding of the water. And so this is why I try to preach understanding the parts, getting that how to paint waves bundle, understanding what you're seeing. It speeds up your processing of water so that you are mixing more freely eventually, because you're not slowing down as you go. You know where you're going before you get there. And it starts to get easier because of that. Leave that bright turquoise in the foreground. It is so pretty. Well, let's do more of it. Let's just do more of that bright turquoise. Okay, here's how you do a little waterfall coming down. I'm going to put darker water right here on the face where it goes down. So we've got light going, hitting this. And so then where the rocks start bending down off of a cliff, I'm going to start making shadows, which just means less white. So I'm going to put green right here, like this, coming down off of this face right here. And so this is so disappointing to look at on the computer screen. This is just so vivid green. This phthalo green is really very bright. You know what other green is like it? If you have tubes of vermilion green, very similar to this. I could also use that for the same purpose. Okay, let's go here. And we just want darker color where it's sloping down. Like this. We want a little bit of a shadow. And that shadow can be greener. It can be more maroon where I have rocks, but I just want some darkness. And here, let's repair some of the little highlights that are in here on that maroon. I'm just using darker colors where I want it to flow down off of a cliff. And then here's how we make a little fall on there. And all of this is this is very adjustable. So I'm getting down here on my knees so I can get down lower. We're going to take white and we're just going to go right below the shadow, go like this. And this is how we're going to make the water flowing down off this. Now I want red too, because it's going to hit that green, but just a little red. So let's just put it right there. Put a little of that red in there. And when it hits this green, we're going to get a nice grayish violet color, which is real good for the look of a little bit of reflection on this water as it cascades down here. So to get this look, I want plenty of paint. I want it to be brighter at the top, and I want it to be darker down low. So I'm going to start staggering this. I don't want a real straight edge, so we'll go up a little higher right here. We'll go down a little lower here. We'll go up high again right here. Okay, then I'm just going to blend it all down to the bottom of the picture right here. And maybe start going up from the other direction. I'm just looking at the direction of it. I'm going to put a little blue down in there to create a deeper shadow, because I want this going down into a canyon. So let's put some blue and just blend that up, blend the white down, blend that blue up. And I'm going to go a little bit darker on these that are coming toward me. I want more reflection on the side. So this is a good way to make my perspective feel better too, is make it brighter as it goes around the edge here. And some of these you can kind of make them taper together. So let's put a little bit more white right here and make a little section that kind of comes to a little bit of a point. Maybe a little, I don't know, that's kind of going off the side, so it doesn't work too good there. Maybe in here where it's coming toward me, a little more of that effect might be better. It kind of can make these little triangle reflection spots as it falls, and that sometimes can give me a little more of a realistic look of it cascading out and over. Okay, so then I go around this edge. I can make it falling over this edge with the same little trick. Just take white, and now I'm just laying the brush down. I'm just laying it down like this and just lightly taking it across to get a skinny little edge. I've got it at this angle, and I'm going against that long point, just real light to get skinny lines, just scooting the edge of it along. Then I'm going to do these lines right here. And I can just build the edge of the water flowing out over this by using this color. Now I'm going to do a little dip in the water bucket. Now the ends of my bristles are a little more wet, and I'll probably get some smaller, smoother lines because of it. Now look, I can come way in here with the skinny line to say that maybe that goes in and out again. And as long as I put these little lines going down, it'll feel like the perspective, starting to remind me of pictures I've seen in Niagara Falls, actually. Okay, so let's grab a little more white and just make little bits of this shooting out over the edge, coming down into a canyon here. Like that. And I can always come back and if I mess up the surface, big whoop-de-doo. It's blue, it's red. I can bring it right in here. It's a little bit of white. Let's put a little more red because that looks kind of extremely blue. There, now I've repaired my reflection color. I can bring that right back up to this edge. You can keep trying this over and over because we're just doing the whole thing with very horizontal lines. And as long as you just stick with that principle of these horizontal lines, then you can get a lot of good practice in doing this technique. I'm going to put a little more red in this reflection. Look, I'll put it where I already have the reflection color to kind of enhance it a little bit. I already have the purple color on some of these stripes, so I'll just carefully go across wherever I see that darker redder color already and kind of run with what's already laid down. Okay, back to this. Go that way. I can get a little more white, and I can redo some of these edges as much as you like until you get some edges that you really like. And just keep messing with that. And I just want the lighter color to be right at the top where it first leaves the water to get that look of it kind of piling over. Okay, now I'm going to go up in here and do layers of it. Wouldn't it be cool if it was kind of cascading down? So what if we go like this and we take this purple color? This is going to be great. I'm really going to enjoy this destruction of this spot like that. You can put water anywhere in the picture as long as you keep it level. You can go same colors, red, blue, white. And because I've been really careful to mind my color relationships, I know what this is going to do. It's going to create a flat spot on this cliff where the water is going to cascade down again. So I'm just making a higher level going right across here. I'm going to put some more, let's put a little maroon in. Let's see if we can get a little truer reflection since this is further away. The sharper, okay, the more parallel you're looking to the water. So back in here, I'm really looking parallel to the water. The more parallel I am to that water, the truer the colors of the reflection become. So in here, I'm really probably best to put some of that maroon in like this. And let's even put a little bit of this yellow bush coming down. Let's grab some yellow and put a little bit of reflection going. Oh, I missed it. My yellow's kind of thick. I don't even have much on there. Now that's too much. Let's get a little bit off the brush. There we go. Now real horizontal lines. I don't want to curve these lines. I got to be careful. We can see such fine details of texture, So I'll put a few little lines going like this. And now we've got reflection going across there. And I'm ready to do another little fall. So let's put a little more white. I want to see a little bit more light color on here, just to make this stand out more. It's really for nothing more than to make this water stand out a little bit better. So let's put lighter color, and I'm going to put some of that green in there as well, just because I want to see it. And I'm keeping the brush strokes real straight, like that. Now I've got a little bit more color in that water, and then I'll put some dark color right here and put some of this maroon right in the face of it. And I need more of that green now. You can go real heavy, don't be afraid to put heavy paint. Nice dark color coming across the face. Kiss that bush goodbye right there that I just painted over. And then I want to do lines going straight down like this. How about a little more of that green? Like that. And then I think it'd be cool to put little bits of highlights in that. So this is this part. I'm painting this part right now that bends down on the water. And so if I put a little bit of white, you'll see that color more. Let's put white and get some turquoise showing through. And then let's put some maroon. Here, let's do this. Let's use yellow. Yellow, where I've got that maroon, it's just going to give me some real bright, less gray highlights if the sun is really striking the face of that. So watch what happens now. It doesn't make a lot of sense at the moment, right? But then I'm just going to grab white and go like this and go and put little bits. Can you hear that garbage truck? It's trash day. We're going to put a little bit of red in there, just a little bit. Now it's coming down over this rock. It's coming down over this rock. And we've got a little bit of water just tumbling down right into there. And so I just know the parts. I just put them in place. Let's put a little bit more white right here. Since we've got the light coming from this side going down this way, let's put a little more white right here. A little more bright reflection on that water. Now it has kind of a concave to it, like it's coming down a little valley. As a matter of fact, it'd be kind of fun if we did little bits of rapids kind of coming down this edge like that. Like maybe it's tumbling down a little bit there behind that cliff like that, and then maybe coming down here as well. Here, let's put some. Anywhere you want to put cascades, you build the surface, you put the dark color under the surface, you cascade it down with those white streaks. Those are the steps. So I just keep following those steps anywhere I want to see it. So I'm going to put more maroon and green where this might be some boulders right here, and I've got that little bit of light reflection color on top of them. And then I'm going to take this white color and go and I'm going to keep this a little bit darker because this is facing away from the sun now right here. So this is going down this way, going down like this. So this is a little bit different layout than that first one, isn't it? Than the thumbnail that I have on the picture, but it's kind of fun. Okay, then I'm going to put another surface in here. Watch, let's just have some fun with this. Let's put another one coming right across here. Water gets level again right there. Let's do some red and blue. Nice purple reflection on the surface, maybe a little bit of the maroon, and I'll put some white in it to lighten it, and it's just coming right across here. There's maybe a lot of white water in it right there. And so now we've got the surface coming across here again. And then we're going to cascade it down again. Let's put green under that. Right there. And let's put a little bit more. Okay, let's really make this fall down lower in some areas. Make some green coming down right there. And then we're going to make another cascade. Let's go. Oh, first we got to have the rocks. Put little rocks in there. A little bit of yellow on top of that to really brighten them. Make it look like the sun is really hitting that face of some of these rocks. It's kind of a fun little highlight color, isn't it? Let's put some in here too. See that bright orange color? If you put it in the right place, which is right on the highest, brightest parts of these rocks, it can be a real nice little highlight. Like that, just make the water kind of glow, you know. And so now I'm gonna just blend this all into that darker green color, and it just needs to be darker. Just needs to be darker than that top level. And then we're gonna put our little more of our dark green. I want to set this up good. A little more of the dark green, and then the white to cascade down. My favorite part is just going, making these cascades happen. I love it. So satisfying. Boom. Go down like this. I'm going the other way with the brush now. Just trying it out. I've got the sharper point of the brush up now just to get smaller shapes. And there I'm going to add a little water, and you can see a much greener color on that. So, I mean, I like that green color and everything, but I'm going to add a little red so that it looks a little more separate from the falls. So a little bit of red in there. Right here makes it less green in some of these areas. And when that red mixes with that phthalo green, we get such a perfect reflection color. Works so good. Let's put some brighter areas coming down like this. A little more white on the top. All right. Oh, we're well on our way to having a little paradise here, huh? I'm going to put some bright little splashes like this coming down this. Let's just kind of dab it and make it. No, I don't know if that worked out. It was a new idea. Never done that one. I just thought maybe it would be good. Okay. So here, I want to put this a little darker as it comes over to this edge, because here's where I want to put the cliff really kind of coming out in front of it and overlapping. So I'm going to put this coming down, but I'm going to add my red and my blue in there and get this darker purple or shadow where I want it to be facing more sideways. It's just darker, just trying to go darker. So here, let's even add some black. Let's see what it looks like if I go a little bit of black in this. Oh, I kind of get a browner color, don't I? Let's add more blue. And then I still want my brighter, wider color at the top. So I'm going to grab my white again. As long as it's just lighter at the top, I'll still get the effect. I just need it to be lighter than the rest of it. Falling down like that. And now we've got kind of a bend in it where it's the shadowed side coming around to a brighter side. Like this. Now I'm going to kind of repair these little edges here. I lost a little bit of them, so I'm just taking the brush and making a few little white lines that ramp out. A couple little bright spots. Reform that edge a little bit. Okay, I got water falling everywhere. This is fun. All right, now I'm going to put it over here, and let's go over to this side of the painting, and I'm going to raise the, oh, we can just leave it right there. That's good. And so we've got, let me see what you guys are saying on the live chat. It's been a while since I since I took a look at that. So let's zoom out and see the progress so far. Man, looks better than the first one. I always love that. Second time's always better than the first because for me, some artists, they have a quick study, they have the painting. All of them are a study for me. There is no finished product ever. You're funny. Thank you. Thank you. Funny to like to look at, funny to laugh at, or like funny. I think of myself as awkward and funny because of my quirks. Sometimes when he changes something, I think great looking. I say no, but then it turns out looking awesome. Hey, thanks a lot, Mary. That's nice of you to say. Mr. Tomato, I don't know what you're sorry for, but thank you. Bob Ross put in something new, ruined. Yeah, I relate to that. Yeah, like a big black tree trunk right there in the middle. Just blasted a beautiful background with black or something. This is my first time watching you, and I love you. Hey, thanks a lot, Rainbow Penguin. I appreciate that very much. That really encourages me. Then 30 seconds later, saved. I know. Yeah. Joe, did you always have artistic abilities? That's a subject of constant question for me because I just, you don't get to be someone else. I always had artistic interests. So when I was 3 years old, I drew my first four-legged creature. My mom saved it. I should show you. I could show you on the next live stream. I've got it in this folder. Like a turtle. I did an arched shell, 3 little legs coming down, a little head coming out from under the shell. And I just was a lover of lines and shapes. So the ability, I feel, only came because of the time spent focusing on that constantly growing up. I just loved lines and shapes, and I always wanted to reproduce them when I saw them. And it didn't matter how it compared to something else because I was just doing it for the love of it. I remember trying to draw people when I was a kid and feeling a little embarrassed at how awkward the backs of the heads were flat, the chest was like out. It just looked weird. And so those are the kind of moments I think that stop a lot of people from progressing is when you get real self-conscious. But the constant love, I think learning is real love driven. I honestly do. I just think it's love driven. You read my comment. Yeah, I read your comment. Come on. Thanks for watching. All right, let's put some blue right here. Let's go in here and add more of that pretty turquoise color. So we're going to go green. We're going to go blue. Deeper water where the blue is, and we're just keeping the direction horizontal. I'm going to put some white in there. Let's scoot the camera a little closer so you can see better again. Put it right there. Does this technique work better with transparent colors? That's a good question. I've never tried it with transparent colors. That would be a good experiment because you would naturally get with transparent colors, you would get translucency probably a lot more easily because the paint would naturally be shifting its hue as darker colors go over lighter colors. And so if you did it with transparent colors, I would recommend dark over light, light first, dark over the top of that so that you get all of the vibrant colors. So if I used like a glazing method on a painting, I would always try to lean toward lightest colors first, letting those light colors shine through the darker colors to get real vivid. This is the way printing works. This is how a printer gets the most vivid colors possible, is by putting the white, then the yellow, then the red, and then the magenta in whatever order they're needed, or whatever amount they're needed. As far as I know, anyway. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's how the brightest colors would be achieved by layering, is by doing the lightest first. So a little bluer here to make it darker. I'm going to start adding some white in here where it's coming up maybe onto a shallower area. I'm going to use broader brush strokes down here too. So why don't I just kind of fatten up the brush strokes, make them a little more oval. because we're right down here in the foreground. And so this will probably give me more interesting perspective if I do that. I'm going to put this maroon color in there with plenty of green on the edge. Let's put some white on top of that. And we'll get a rock coming up out of the water. And I'm just using fatter, bigger brush strokes now. Here's my mid-tone where I have less white and I've got that orange mixing with the turquoise. And then I'm just going to do a few more strokes until it's gradually, blended in there to my liking. And if you want to put some sunlight striking the rock, you can throw a little bit of yellow and a brighter orange in there. Let's see what it does if we go real bright, like we got some sunlight in there. The yellow is a real key component of that. You don't want to have a too red of a color for that effect. Put some brighter color. Oh yeah, lots of yellow. That's good. For the underwater look, I want to shift it a lot. Shift it a lot toward the yellow. Let's go more of this on the edge. I need to borrow some of that color here because I've got too much of it right there. There, now we've got a nice bright rock where maybe there's just barely a thin layer of water. Let's grab some of that green and make just a little bit of water flowing over this. Right there, make some dark lines, and we've got kind of some darker, maybe ripples coming across the top of that rock. Here's a fun effect too. If you do that, take a little bit of white, and let's do like our purple reflection color, right? So I'm just going to go up here and mix a real quick purple. We're going to go red, blue, and white. And then I'll come down here wherever I did that green. I'll go put a little reflection right there, right there, right there. And then we get a look of, I got to make it in line more with it. There, we get the look of the reflection come right across the top of a rock that's under the water. I just want to really mind my edges. When you get real chopped up little spikes on your brush strokes, it can affect that look of smooth water. I'm just unloading the brush with that color. I guess I'm just seeing what will happen if I just take that color and put it up in here. So see this getting real sticky? Look at that pull pattern. It's all grainy. It pulls across. Not great. So that means it's time to be brave and reapply. So let's go like this. Put more green, more white, more green. Get the darkness I want. Put more blue. And just keep working on those horizontal strokes. Nice bright turquoise color. I'm going to grab a little bit of water. Go over this a few times like this. And wherever I lose a color that I liked, I just need to know how to rebuild it. That's all. So if I want the edge of that rock back, oh, I like the edge of that rock. I didn't want to lose that. Okay, put more maroon. Let's put more white. I had a little bit much white on there. Put that in there. And so the more you go back and forth and see what this does, I highly recommend practice boards. I think that's a really, really fun and awesome way to get better. Trying these techniques on just a scrap material that you're not going to keep. You're not going to hang it on your wall. You couldn't if you wanted to because it's just a piece of trash. And then you break away from trying to get the finished picture, and I feel like that's really helped me to train a lot. So I'm just trying to make a more gradual transition into that deeper water right there, just pulling these colors over. All right, we've got that little splash of turquoise coming around there. And so here, this is the last thing I'm going to do in here, and then we'll keep building this next week, which will be on Monday. Monday's going to be the next episode. My practices are always better than the ones I want to keep. I think the same is true for me, actually. The pressure, the pressure is a hard thing to work under. Okay, so now I've got this color going up into my shallower watercolor. So I've got maroon in here, right? That goes into this green, but I don't want to make it darker than the green. Unless I want a rock that's coming up out of the depths. Then maybe it's a little darker. Let's just do that real quick. It's fun. I'm going to put green and make an actual darker edge. This is how you make a rock going down into the water. We're going to let the shape be kind of scrunched, so I'll go ahead and leave these zigzag shapes. Plenty of green to make it look like it's under the water, but I'm leaving it a little darker instead of going a little lighter like I did on all these other areas. If I just kind of break up this edge so that I just have distortion from ripples and just the angle that we look through the water, that's represented. And then I'm going to start getting lighter as it approaches the surface. So let's go like this. Let's add some white. We'll make one of those red rock cliffs going right down into this water. Okay, I'm still not above the surface yet, so I'm going to make soft transition here. Gets lighter as it comes up. And then right here, this is where all of the magic is going to happen. Okay, let's put a little more green. I'm almost ready, almost ready. Put a little more green shadow in here. Okay, now I want a little more white. Okay, I've got my lighter maroon color, which just became like a tan. It's just kind of a tan, beigeish color. Now that looks underwater, right? Just because I have all that green, that shadow. But this is where I really love doing this effect, is getting a clean brush now. And I'm going to do a real bright edge of a rock. Coming down, I'm just looking for a clean brush. Clean brush. I had a bunch of brushes in a pile. Give me a second here. I got a clean brush here. Yeah, right here, right here. I got it. Okay, last thing. Right here. Right on this edge, we're going to put a cliff. Same colors we used in here. The sunlight comes down. Now the water is going to change the angle. It's going to go down. The water is going to scrunch everything like this. So I want this steeper than this angle. So I'm going to go white and maroon and just bring that edge of that rock right down to this. Put lots of white in it for some nice bright sunlight. And then let's just curve this a little bit for the perspective of a rock. And it just pops right up out of the water like that. Just boom, comes right up out of there. And then let's put a little bit of character to this rock here. Let's bring that sunny face up here, and then let's put some shadows on it with the other brush. So let's go over here and put maroon and black right here. Let's put some stripes coming across like ridges in the rock. I'm going to round them a little bit like this. So the sun is hitting a little more on this edge. Let's put lots of transition color in there. Here, let's keep that maroon, keep that mid-tone in there. Then we get some shadows in here. Let's put plenty of this in place. So the water, it does two things with the shadow. It brings it all closer to the watercolor, so it lightens it and darkens it. So lighter areas get darkened, dark areas get lightened, because when the light shines through all of that water, it gets dispersed and hits all the shadows just as well. So you don't have the dark shadows and you don't have the bright highlights. All the contrast gets squeezed together. So here I can have a darker shadow going down to this brighter edge because of that. And now I'm just going to make this rock a little more complex with some strokes going different directions. Let's put a little bit brighter colors with, I probably don't even need another brush. Let's just go maroon and white, and I'm going to add a little bit of yellow for some extra color on there now. So okay, let's scoot over. I'm going to scoot this over right here. Sorry. Here, let's move this over here. That's not very good. I'm just going to try to stay out of the way here. Let's go here. You're looking at my little room here that I'm working in. I just want you to be able to see this as I'm working on it. So I'm just going to scoot over to the other side. I'm going to scoot over right here and put some yellow in there. Get some pure white. Nice bright highlights in here. Get some more of that maroon going down here into the shadow. And this is just such a fun, satisfying thing to do, is to put that underwater rock first, and then build this big rock on top of it. Makes it go right down into the surface, right down through the surface. Now there's some interesting colors. Let's go like this. Let's bring this out a little bit further with red and yellow to get a brighter orange. Red and yellow and white. Let's get a little more of that yellow. I'm going to go up here and go. Let's break up this edge a little bit too. There we go. Okay, so I keep messing with this and messing with it. I'm going to put more rocks in. We'll do more on Monday. But this is how we build ourselves a water scene, plugging it into the landscape. Just go to areas where you want the water sitting on something that just separates these two cliffs. Now this is further away than this because I just want to put that right across, and you can just keep building it that way. Love looking at the water. Thank you, Mary C. I'm going to wrap this up now. So if you want to squeeze in any last questions or comments before we start again on Monday, now is the time. And so thank you, Sandra. You're very nice. Have a great weekend. Thank you. I will. I'm sure I will. I've got that drawing video to finish. Does water reflect bluish gray colors on the rocks? Oh yeah, that's a good consideration. Very smart of you to think of that. Yes, it would. So I have a overhang right here, and you would have a blue-gray color on any edge. It's got to be an edge facing the water. So let's put an edge right here. And let's use, we know that blue light, when it mixes with anything, gets a little bit purple, right? So we need blue and we need red to make it more purple. And let's make an underside to this right here. And then when this comes out, we've got that blue downward facing edge, but now let's just put a little bit of light on it. So we're going to go like this. And we can put a little bit, maybe that's a little too much white. Let's, getting the right balance that's where the magic happens, is getting just the right balance. Downward facing edge right here. Maybe we've got a little bit down here. Maybe there's kind of a little cave recessed in here. And so putting this little bit of blue in there will give us that effect. And then something I'm not going to get into, but that you can look for is you'll see the little squiggles happening. The waves make all the squiggly light. Caustics is what you call it, I think. And so, you can make I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's kind of a nice little addition to this picture now. I like that. I like the way that looks. Okay. What else? How do you decide? Uh, um, L. I wonder what Paul means by L. Fell asleep on the keyboard, maybe? I don't know. I just figured out that the Sketch Club procedural brush set to bristle. Okay. Sounds like you found a cool new tool on Sketch Club. It's a good app. And so brilliant. Thank you very much, 10. When the pandemic is over, will you continue doing live videos? Yeah, I'll continue doing live videos. You know, this has all been a test. It's always been an intimidating thing for me to try to do this by myself. So I'm breaking myself in out of necessity now. But it's been a good experience, and I've learned some valuable things trying to make this a better show too. And so if you have feedback for me, I really appreciate hearing the feedback. I'm just a guy in a spare room of my house trying to do a good job of putting good material out on YouTube. Not an expert here. And so we've got Farah says, thank you. Should we repeat the water reflections on rocks that are further away? Oh yeah, go crazy. See where it looks good. Anywhere, just think of it. Anywhere you have a downward facing edge, it's got to be facing. Imagine light bouncing like a ball. Whatever it hits, that's what you want. So any edge that's facing, just think of an edge would take the light from the water, goes up, hits that downward facing edge, comes to my eyes, right? Just goes, it makes that sound too. Gotta make the sound to fully experience. Doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Susan. You're welcome. Val, thank you for being here. Do you have an Instagram account? Yeah, Mural Joe, at Mural Joe, all lowercase, one word. And I forgot to today put a reminder that there was a live stream this morning. You're welcome. You're welcome. Sweet 7222010. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. Do you ever use undertones? No, I never do. No, that's a lie, because I have sketched the picture with black and white in order to develop my concept, but it's never to determine how dark and light I want things. It's just to get my shapes in place. It's to be creative, like sketching with a pencil. I just find it faster. Just go straight to the paint. I sketch with black and white paint. But technically that is using undertones, because shadow and light comes out of it, and then I end up seeing that and further developing it for my painting. It just doesn't show through it all. I don't gradually build on it like undertones are more traditionally used. Have you tried glazing? Only for specialty finishes on walls. And no, I have glaze. When you want your brightest color possible, I find it pointless to do light color. No, not pointless. I shouldn't say that, because a lot of artists do fantastic work with glazing light over dark, but I just don't find it to offer anything that I can't do with just mixing. But dark over light, on the other hand, produces very vivid colors. The white shines through from underneath and you get vivid colors. So yes, I'll use glazing with the darker color over a lighter color to get a more vivid result, like if I'm trying to paint bright little flowers with accents. That's where the brightest colors come from. Do you like Impressionist painting? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it's an awesome example of, I think that a child is on the keyboard on Paul A's account. I think that's cool. Yes. Yes, I do. And so what was I? Oh man, Paul, daggone it. You succeeded in distracting me, you spammer. Okay. Let's go up here and see. You should turn on Super Chat. Well, here's the thing I don't like about Super Chat. I don't want my attention to go to the people that pay. That's why I don't like Super Chat. I do like money. I like making it, but I don't want my attention to go to the people that are that are pumping up the super chats. Okay, what was that thing? Yes, I like Impressionist because Impressionistic painting demonstrates how valuable it is to have colors and values that capture the essence of something. And so we don't do paintings just to look at something a second time. We do paintings to capture something we would not have otherwise seen in nature by kind of celebrating what stands out to us. So an impressionist painting is like looking at the world through a lens that lets you see some things but not everything, and then imagination fills in what you don't see, and your imagination doesn't fill it in wrong. It fills it in with the things that you fantasize and imagine and want to see. So I love how Impressionist paintings leave so much room for imagination to fill in the blanks, gives you just enough, like a good mystery movie. This is something that happens in live streams, just to keep a few moderators and chat will be fine. Yeah, but it is a little bit entertaining, for being honest. All right, I've got to stop and move on to other things. And I really appreciate you all being here, tuning in for the live stream. It's a lot of fun for me. And if you don't mind spreading the word, share this video if you can. I want this to be good information that can be reused and reused. You know, reliable information, answers on how looks are achieved. And so I'm ever appreciative of helping me to get the word out like that. And so thank you very much, Arthur. You have a good weekend too. Nicely said, Joe. All right. Thanks, Jim. Okay. Time to end, and I look forward to seeing you same time on Monday, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time this coming Monday. All right. Well,